The ongoing sessions are on Bhagavad Gita from an Advaita perspective offered by Binduji. We are on Chapter 3, class number 7. The replays for the previous rooms are available in Clubhouse, or you can go to the links in the chat. One is from YouTube, which the channel is called Advaita Retold, where you have the repository of not just Bhagavad Gita, but the earlier sessions on Aparoksha and Ubudhi, and going all the way back to the Upanishads. For housekeeping, I'm going to, and there's one more citation for a book penned by Artemisia called The Imaginary Door, which is a collection of Binduji's insights before in the 2022-23, that time when he was giving some during discussions. For housekeeping, I'm going to close the chat and hand raising when Binduji is conducting the class. And then we'll have half an hour for Q&A with Binduji. Over to you, Binduji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prakash. Welcome, everyone. Hari Om. Let me do the invocation. Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyo Vamsa Rishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Shruti Smriti Purana Namalayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loga Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashikritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Guru Ratmeti Murtibeda Vivagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. The Gita Dhyana Shlokam. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvandi Divyai Savai Vedai Sangha Padakramo Panishadai Gayandi Yam Samaga Dhyanavastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyandi Yam Yogino Yasyandam na Vidusura Suragana Devaya Tasmai Namaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. The verses in the 3rd chapter, commencing from the 9th to 13th, we have a complete karmic structure. Action binding when appropriated. Yajna prevents appropriation. Yajna purifies and neutralizes the inevitable harm. The self-centered enjoyment is the theft in the cosmic order. Karma sustains the cosmic wheel. Knowledge alone exists this wheel of karma. So karma sustains the cycle, yajna purifies the cycle, knowledge ends the cycle. This is how the 9th to 13th verses have been structured in the Bhagavad Gita. In the yesterday's discussion, the word yajnasishta came up for a explanation. Venkat was asking, he is not here yet. I thought I will explain it as how one should understand that. What is this? Shishta means remnant. Yajnasishta means what is remaining after doing yajna. Yajna itself is an offering to the divinity. So, let us grammatically understand what is the word yajnasishta means. The word yajna as I told earlier, is coming from the root yaj, to sacrifice, offer, etc. And when it becomes a noun, the verb, it takes on the nakara, or it becomes yaj plus na yajna, which means sacred offering or sacrifice. Now the word shishta, the meaning is remnant or what that remains, is coming from a verbal root. Shish means to remain or to leave behind, or what is left out. It's a compound between yajna and shishta. Put together, what brings the word yajnasishta. That which is left over from yajna is the compound meaning. The full meaning is that the remnant or residue of a sacrifice. It's a shishta is a past passive participle. That is why that which has been left is the meaning which it takes it, or the remainder after an action is complete. In the 13th verse where we saw it yesterday, that is a pivotal verse where this word first appears. Yajnasishta sando muchande sarva hilbishaihi. Bunjade tuagam papa ye pachanti atma karanat, which was discussed. Yajnasishta, those who eat the remnant of yajna. Sandaha means the wise, the righteous, or the good people. Muchande, from the root much, means liberate or free yourself. Sarva kilbishai, from kilbisha means impurities or papa or sin. Sarva papa or sarva kilbisha mean from all impurities, ignorance, sins, etc. Bunjate means they who consume. Agham means sin or karmic burden. Papa means the sinful ones. Papaha means here the plural. Those who consume. Ye pachanti atma karanat. Those who cook. Ye pachanti means those who cook. Atma karanat, for the sake of the self alone. It is not the capital S, it is the small s, self alone, means for the individuality. Those who cook or those who do the action for the selfish means, they are called the sinful ones. They consume or they enjoy the burden of karmic duty or karmic action. So Krishna draws this to bring in a cosmology of selfless living. Those who eat with what remains after offering are freed from all impurity, while those who cook only for themselves eat nothing but the sin. Now we will see different layers of meaning, from the gross meaning to the subtle meaning or the Advaitic meaning. The gross meaning is in the Vedic meaning which we have to take, or the ritualistic meaning of the word yajnasishta. In the original Vedic context, after a yajna was performed, the oblations what have been offered into the fire or is what is yajna, offering into the fire, which is the yajna kunda or the yajnagni. What the fire, as per the ritualistic meaning, is that the fire, when it burns more, it is going towards the sky. mean they are carrying the oblation to the devas. And what physically remains, the cooked food, etc., whatever offering has been put into the fire, whatever has been offered into the fire, some will remain there, and that becomes the cooked food in the fire by what has been offered. So that what has been cooked in the fire of the yajna is called the prasada, means the remnant of the yajna. It is that what gives the prasada. Eating this remnant was considered sacred during the Vedic periods because the ego had already relinquished the ownership of that what is have been offered into the fire. Because he is not seeing it as left out for him without offering into the fire. But from the fire, what has been offered and has become now cooked, that is considered as already relinquished with the ownership of that food, that item. So what you consume is no longer yours, but it belongs first to the divine, and what has gone to the divine, and the remnant of that is called what is the prasada, or the left out. Now when we come to the second layer of the word yajnasishta, we should take it from the ethical and social meaning. From a householder's tradition, thus expand when we do that, first offer to gods, ancestors, guests, living beings, etc. as a householder. This is called the Pancha Maha Yajna, the 5 great yajnas. Only then eat what is left out from the Pancha Maha Yajna, the 5 offerings, that is gods, ancestors, guests and living beings, etc. So what remains after these obligations is the yajnasishta from a social meaning or an ethical meaning. The act of eating becomes sanctified. No karmic residue occurs because you are seeing this also from an ethical, moral point of view, that you have offered this to the gods, ancestors, guests, etc. Then comes the third layer, which is the philosophical or Advaitic meaning. Here the concept undergoes a radical transformation from these two. The remnant is not a physical food in the Advaitic sense. It is whatever consciousness receives after the ego has been offered up or given up. Therefore, from Advaitic point of view, the yajnasishta is an experience without the experiencer's claim on it. Understand very carefully. Action performed. There is no doership in it. There is no enjoyership in it because you have offered your ego in the process. When you are offering your ego, you cannot hold on to either the doership or enjoyership. Yet, being in the physical body, the body-mind complex, our experiences continue. But we do not have any attachment towards it or ownership or as a doer or enjoyership. We become a sakshi to that. So the experiences of a sakshi as a witness, I am neither the doer nor the enjoyer, but there are experiences as a witness of the events of waking, dream and deep sleep. Those experiences do not leave impressions in our vasana or in our latent subconscious mind. They are transitory experiences which do not remember in the memory or remind us what went through. They are just like the changing scenes in a screen of consciousness. That is the true yajnasishta in the point of view of Advaita. When we look at the Gita Bhashya of the Shankaracharya in the 13, he makes a crucial distinction. The kilbisha or the impurity that binds is not a moral sin alone, but it is the fundamental ahankara or the ego sense that I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, etc. That is the feeling. That is the impurity. The very idea that I am the doer or I am the enjoyer is the impurity. Then how come eating yajnasishta means acting and experiencing with the prior surrender of the doership and the enjoyership? That is what Shankaracharya is referring as yajnasishta in the commentary. And then also adds that those who cook for themselves, ahankar atmakaranat, for the self or for the individuality, one who lives from the ahankara point of view or the ego point of view, mistaking the body mind as the self, he is enjoying the sins, he is not freed from it. Therefore, the ultimate yajnasishta is the shesha of pure consciousness that remains when all ego constructs have been offered into the fire of yajna. Shesha means left out. So the ultimate yajnasishta is the left out of experiences in pure consciousness, where there is no ego constructs at all as the doership or enjoyership. The doership and enjoyership has been offered into that fire of yajna, jnanagni, sarvakarmani, bhasmasat kurute, that comes up later in the Bhagavad Gita. That fire of knowledge burns down all karmas, all actions, but only when it is done in the proper way. So when I is offered completely, what remains is Brahman alone. That which you then live, eat, breathe and experience, etc., all of them will become yajnasishta. When the individuality is not there, the doership is not there, the enjoyership is not there, and you are seeing only Brahman everywhere, then what you live is Brahman, what you eat is Brahman, what you breathe is Brahman, what is experience is Brahman, everything is Brahman. When we look in the modern context, we have to reimagine this yajnasishta. This concept becomes strikingly most urgently relevant. There is an ecological crisis. Earth as a vessel where yajna is taking place. Every activity is taking place on the surface of the earth. Therefore, earth is the yajna bhumi. The modern civilization operates on the precise inversion of yajnasishta. The modern man lives the reverse of yajnasishta. The yajnasishta principle takes only what is remaining after offering. Whereas the modern violation is that exact first, offer nothing. While yajnasishta principle says that earth is the sacred field of yajna bhumi, whereas the modern civilization considers earth as a source of raw materials, treated as a raw material. Earth itself is treated as a raw material. In the yajna principle, consumption follows contribution. Whereas in the modern outlook, consumption precedes any giving. What is waste is dumped in it for the earth. What is not liked by me, excess, unwanted, rotten, all the things are dumped into the earth. In the yajna principle, food is treated as a prasada. I don't know the English word for it. Prasada is the prasada, those who are in India will understand the word, but for those who are from the West, it is like the bread and wine which is offered in a church. You treat it as a prasada. That is called the prasada. So in the yajna principle, food is a prasada. We take it as a gift from God. Whereas in the modern violation, food is a commodity for making my desires come true, or my aggrandizing, accumulation. All the thing is that food, one way or the other, is treated as a commodity for that purpose. Therefore, the ecological principle of yajnasishta, consume only after the ecosystem has been honored and replenished. Regenerative agriculture, zero waste balance living, carbon offset before consumption. These are the secular approximations of this ancient principle. The Gita's warning is very precise. A civilization that cooks only for itself accumulates collective sins. Civilizational karma that manifests as climate breakdown, resource exhaustion, and social disintegration ultimately destroys those who cook for themselves. Now, when we look from the workplace or a professional life also, this principle of yajnasishta is very much applicable. The modern professional is caught up in a profound Atma Karanad trap. He says everything for myself. The work is performed purely for salary, recognition, personal achievement, promotions, etc. There is no sense of offering, only extraction. The result is people become burnt out, life becomes meaningless, and it goes into a state of depression. Health problems, all of them are a result of that. How does the yajnasishta work as an ethic in the professional life? Offer your skills fully to the work itself. Karma yajna. The work itself becomes a yajna. And your skills are the offerings in it. You are not looking for any reward out of it. Let the work be complete in itself as an offering. So when your skill is being deployed as an offering for completing the karma yajna. There is a happiness which is achieved because your skills are deployed and put into use, which gives you happiness. Not only that, we should also accept what comes. It can be compensation, recognition, promotion, transfer, all of them. There are anything what comes in the professional life is a prasada. It is not an entitlement. Don't think this is a naive selflessness. It is the recognition that when you work from ego demand, anxiety, suffering will follow. But when you work in the professional circle as an offering of your skills, even the same work becomes a liberating one. The salary received by one who has offered their work completely as a yajnasishta is a yajnasishta. The same salary received by one who worked only for how to get increment, only for increment to increment, and I have to getting promotion, etc. That becomes his sin, akam, because his attention is all the while on the receiving. What will I get by this? What will I get? Will I get recognition? Will I be appreciated by my boss? Will I be, given promotion, etc. All of them will bind you more and more. What about our social life, family life? That is the most intimate yajna. Every relationship is a micro yajna. The father, the son, the wife, brother, social, neighbor, everything. The question of yajnasishta asks for every relationship. Am I giving first or only consuming? So the modern relational dysfunction arises precisely from atmakarana. When the selfishness is present in all these relationships, all relationships will become dysfunctional. Because we are relating to others as instruments for one's own emotional, physical and social satisfaction. We are not treating others as part of the system. They are instruments for my emotional satisfaction, physical satisfaction, social recognition, etc. So yajnasishta in the relationship means presence offered without agenda, listening as an act of sacred attention, love that does not keep accounts. There is no account keeping in love. What you receive in a relationship, whether it is affection, care, joy, physical and pleasurement, whatever it is, they are all taken as a prasada, received as a prasada, and not demanded as my birthright. What about parenting? Raising children as an offering to the world, not as extensions of your ego. For your ego satisfaction, you want your son to be the doctor. You are a doctor, you want your son to be a doctor. You want your children to do things which you are dreamt, which you could not achieve. You are forcing them to do that. You are not offering your children into the world as an offering, because they come with their own skill sets. Let them be efficient, yajnasishta, practicing doers of yajna in the world using their skill sets, not adjusting their life to your demand of skill sets. I'm reminded of Khalil Gibran that children are not lives from coming through you. This is from you. They are lives longing to come through you for their own sake. They have their own mind. Let them be like the birds. Let them start flying from the nest the moment they are ready to fly. Let them be the yajna performers in the world for the pollination or for the progeny, etc. So the Advaitic depth, when you recognize other than the non-different from yourself, Tadattvamasi, then giving to the other is giving to yourself. Yatra nanya pashyati. The very distinction between the giver and the receiver, the offer and the remnant, all of them dissolve. There is no doer, there is no enjoyer. What about knowledge and intellectual life? That is coming in the 4th chapter, 33rd verse it will come. There also this word comes. It is called the Jnana Yajna, knowledge and intellectual life. Yet Bhagavad Gita calls it as Jnana Yajna, the highest in the modern terms. The scholar, teacher, writer who holds knowledge for the prestige, awards and recognition are cooking for themselves. Open source movements, free education, knowledge sharing, these approximate yajnasishta. More certainly, the student who learns with pure curiosity, not for grades, not for a career, just to enrich himself, and offers that understanding back to the world as the skill set he has acquired. That learning itself becomes the yajnasishta. For the Advaita specifically, every insight into the nature of the self must be offered back. Then only it will become a yajna. Through teaching, seva, or simply through living it. On the contrary, hoarding spiritual insight for personal comfort, enrichment, wealth, etc. They form the Atma Karanat for the selfish means. Even in our digital age, the attention of yajna is very much important. Perhaps the most contemporary application. Attention is the subtlest form of prana in the digital age. When I say attention, the social media is built on Atma Karanat. It harvests your attention for others' profit while feeding you the engineered dopamine. You feel that your dopamine is increasing. You are feeling happiness, but it is an engineered dopamine. It is not a natural one. The happiness which you get when you do it as an offering or a yajna is pure dopamine. It is a nature's gift. Whereas when you seek attention, how many followers are there, how many of these things have been heard, or how many people is putting thumbs up to my pictures, or Instagram, Facebook, all type of social gatherings. It harvests our attention. And for what purpose? Or those companies which are feeding us artificial dopamine, they make the profit. The yajnasishta practitioner in this will ask, to what am I offering my attention? Is this an offering or am I being consumed? The intentional attention given fully to a person, a task, or a moment of silence is the attention as yajna. Please understand that. The intentional attention given fully to a person by listening to the problems of others, by listening to others when they are sharing their skill sets, coming together for a task completion, helping others, in the process enriching yourself, or simply sharing a moment of silence with somebody who is wanting your presence. These are all yajna in the modern world. What returns from that will be insight for us and a connection for us, and there will be peace, utter peace and tranquility for us. And that is the yajnasishta. That is the prasada for us. So the Advaita Vedanta yajnasishta is the non-dual vision of yajnasishta when it reaches its absolute meaning as the jnani's experience. The fully realized jnani, knower of Brahman, lives entirely in a state of yajnasishta because he has no doership, no enjoyership. The ego has been completely offered to the fire of self-knowledge. What remains? The body, mind and apparent individuality, please understand that, functions as a remnant of that offering. That is the prasada. A jnani eats, speaks, acts, but there is no one claiming ownership of any of those activities. Every breath he takes is a yajnasishta. The residue of Brahman's self-offering into an apparent form. That is why Shankaracharya says the Jivan Mukta is a perfect embodiment of yajnasishta. Their very existence is a prasada for the cosmic yajna of Maya, dissolving back into Brahma. So when we say Aham Brahmasmi, when this is truly realized, who can be there as an offerer? Only Brahman. What is being offered? Brahman. Into what fire? That also is Brahman. What is a remnant? Shishta or yajnasishta. That also is Brahman. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavi Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva Tena Gandavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Therefore, yajnasishta at the highest is Brahman tasting Brahman. The universe has self-delighting remnant of its own self-recognition. So how do we live the practice of yajna? We know all these details have been told, but how do I live my day-to-day life? At the body level, eat after offering food as prasada. At the action level, offer your work as a prasada. And whatever is given without asking, the income, etc., income, promotion, whatever it is, it's a prasada. In a relationship, Don't ask what is in it for me. Give first. Whatever you receive is a grace. At the mental level, think for the truth and not anything where the ego reinforcement takes place. At the intellectual level, share our knowledge freely without asking for any returns of it. No fees, no charging for the classes or lectures or any of those things. When you offer that knowledge freely, the doubts which are being asked to you by those who are receiving the wisdom, that will be the wisdom as a prasada for you, because a doubt which you may not have thought would have come from somebody who has thought it in a different way. And when you clarify that, or when you think with him, when you are sharing the knowledge, that is what is the prasada you are getting when you are sharing the knowledge. And ultimately at our consciousness level, offer the ego completely as into the fire of knowledge. Once you do that, what remains is only Brahman. And that is self Brahmarpanam Brahmahui. This is the best explanation which I can give for yajnasishta. Because I promised Venkat that I'll give him that reply for today. And this is it. We have about 15-20 minutes. Let us go do one verse today. Yeah, incidentally, there is a verse in the 4th chapter, 31. Yajnasishta mridabhujo yanti brahma sanatanam. Those who partake of the nectar that is remnant of a yajna go to the eternal Brahman. That is, the remnant of the true sacrifice is not what is left after giving. It is the recognition that there was never anyone giving, never anything which is received, and nothing other than Brahman in the first place. We will see that when we go to the 4th chapter. It is 4:31. Coming back to the 14th verse here. Itascha adhikritena karma kartavyam jagatcha pravritti hetu hrhi karma. Therefore, also, action must be performed by the one who is qualified for it. For action is the cause of the turning of the wheel of the world. Jagat Chakra. Katamiti uchyate. How is this being told by Krishna in the 14th verse? Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anna sambhavaha. Yajnad bhavati parjanyaha yajna karma samudbhavaha. Annad bhutani bhavanti. All the creations or the beings arise from food. The food here doesn't mean the food what we eat. Here food stands for what creates the creation, the cycle which remains as a creation. The growth, the birth, the growth, everything is depending upon the food. Parjanyat anna sambhavaha bhavanti. But food arises from rain. Again here rain, parjanya means, janya means to be born, Parjanya means waterborne, from the bottom, what is being showered from the sky. So that is why the word translation is rain. But here you should take it as that water. You can see life is sustained only when there is water in it. And water has oxygen in it. That is the oxygen which we breathe. Fish doesn't breathe oxygen from the air. It breathes oxygen from the water. So water is enough for life to be sustained in the continuation as the creation. Yajnat parjanya bhavanti. But the rain takes place from a form of sacrifice. From sacrifice comes the rain or the water. The rain which falls on the surface of earth is coming due to a sacrifice of sun by offering its heat into the ocean to evaporate it and bring it back to us as a pure water for sustenance of life. Yajna karma samudbhavaha asti. And the sacrifice arises from action. So the cycle is a Jagat Chakra. Regarding the 4 links, how it is to be done is that action produces sacrifice, sacrifice produces rain, rain produces food, food produces beings, and beings perform action. Which produces sacrifice, which produces the rain, which produces the food, and food produces the being again. And so on and on, without a beginning or an end. It's a cycle, chakra. So, first, this verse completes the exposition of Yajna Chakra, which began at the 310, by grounding it in a concrete cosmological account. What did 310 say? Sahayatnya praja srishtva purovaja prajapati anena prasavijyatvam ena ishta kamaduk. So along with the creation, the creator gave us both yajna and creation. Together it happened. Then came the Devan Bhavayate Nena, Te Deva Bhavayantuvaha, Parasparam Bhavayanda Shreya Paramavapsita. That offering to the divinity, the mutual cooperative endeavor with which the sustenance is continuing. So, that was stated as a divine ordinance by Prajapati in 310 and to 312. And as a moral injunction in 313 is here given the metaphysical foundation, the entire natural order of a structured as a cycle of mutual nourishment. That is what I said, cooperative endeavor. Sustained by yajna. Shankaracharya reads this not a primitive cosmological mythology, but as a precise account of the interdependence of karma, dharma and rita, the moral cosmic order. Secondly, the chain karma, yajna, parjanya, anna, bhuda, karma, etc. is for the description of samsara itself in its most fundamental nature, structure. The wheel of samsara is precisely the cycle of embodiment beings, bhutani, performing karma, action, that sustains the cosmic order of Rita, that sustains the embodied existence. to participate consciously and with yajnartha buddhi for the purpose of yajna. That is as an intellectual thing. Is this cycle of karma yoga. To participate unconsciously and with selfish means is the atmakarana buddhi, which deepens the bondage in the empirical world. Thirdly, the karma sambhava is the philosophically the most significant compound in this verse for Advaita. It establishes that yajna is not a self-subsistent, but is a dependent upon human intentional action, karma. Yajna is not self-satisfying or self-subsistent. It is dependent upon the human interaction, intentional karmas. This means that the liberation of the yajna chakra available to the jnani, who is akarta, non-doer, is a real coherent possibility. Why? The jnani who has realized Atman as akarta simply stands outside the cycle by not abandoning it through laziness, etc., but transcending it through knowledge. In the 17th verse, which Shankaracharya is in anticipation of that, Yastu Atmarati Eva Syat. He rejoices in the self alone and has no further obligation within the Yajna Chakra. Finally, Shankaracharya reads the cosmological chain as a progressive ascent from Sthula to Sukshma to Karana. That is gross to subtle to causal. Anna is the grossest level of material existence. Parjanya is the subtle cosmic force. Yajna is the intentional human action that connects the empirical to the divine. And karma is the primordial human capacity for intentional action that underlines the entire structure. Therefore, this verse moves from the most material, grossest food through the natural rain, etc., and to the ritual of the yajna, to the fundamental karma, revealing the cosmic order as ultimately grounded in the intentional activity of the conscious beings. A profoundly significant point for Advaita. For understanding of Maya as Ishvara's creative Shakti operating through the intentional actions of Jiva. Please understand that. A profound, significant point from Advaita's point of view is to understand that Maya as a creative Shakti of Ishvara operating through intentional actions of Jivas. Therefore, the Bhashya of the 314, Shankaracharya completes the Jagat Chakra and begins the trace karma back to the Vedic source. Annat bhuktat lohita reta parinatat pratyaksham bhavanti jayande bhutani. From the food having been eaten and transformed into blood and seed, etc., the beings are directly born. Lohita reta parinatat, transformed into blood and reproductive seed, reta means seed, etc. Life depends upon food. Thus the wheel begins with the material causality. The connection from rain to food. Parjanyat vrishtayehe annasya sambhavaha anna sambhavaha. From the rain rises food. The production of food happens in the rain. So the chain advances further. So the rain gives rise to crops. Crops gives rise to food. Food is now the reason for the beings. From yajna to rain, connection. Yajnat bhavati parjanya. So here he is quoting Manusmriti. Agno prastahuti samyag adipya samyak adityam upatishtate adityat jayate vrishtihi vrishter annam tada praja. It is smriti, Manusmriti. From yajna raises rain as stated in this Manusmriti. The properly offered oblation enters the sun. From the sun comes the rain. From the rain the food, and from the food the beings. So, yajna, cosmic, subtle cosmic effect, rain, food, life is a cycle. He is not claiming, Shankaracharya is not claiming a mechanical superstition here. Rather, he says yajna sustains the cosmic order. A cosmic order yields a natural harmony. This is the ritual cosmic correspondence accepted in the Shastra. Then what is yajna? Yajna apurva. This is one word we have to understand. Yajna is the cause for apurva. Apurva means is a technical Mimamsa terminology. The Mimamsa means is the Vedic terminology. Unseen potency produced by ritual action, which later fructifies as a result. Why it is called unseen potency? Because you cannot connect it yourself between the action and the result. What makes the action to give rise to a result? The Mimamsa or the Purva Mimamsa, where the Yajnas are all mentioned, they have brought in a term called Apurva. Action is producing an unseen potency. But that, when will it fructify, what form it will fructify, what will be the intensity of the fructification, these are unknown. Therefore, the Apurva, which acts as the mediator in between the action and the result, is what is the true yajna is. So he accepts the explanatory model provisionally for the functionality of it, but does not absolutize it metaphysically, unlike the strict Mimamsakas. The strict Mimamsaka has the absolute necessity of this word. Shankaracharya uses it as a functional connection between the yajna and the result. That's all. The yajna arises from karma. That is, the apurva rises from the karma. Sacha yajnaha karma sambhudaha, samudbhavaha. Ritvad yadi yajmana yohoscha vyaparaha karma. And that yajna arises from action. The activity of the ritik and the yajmana or the sacrificer is what is called the action in the Vedic sense. So Shankaracharya reduces the yajna to a operational core, ritual performance, intentional activity and prescribed procedure within the Vedas realm. Thus, yajna is not a spontaneous activity. It depends upon the deliberate karmic execution. Tat samudbhavaha yasya yajnasya purvasya sahayajna karma samudbhava. That yajna whose unseen potency, apurva, arises from such action, is thus said to be the born of action. Is said to be born of action. So the logic is layered. Priest plus sacrificer performs the action. The action generates an apurva. Apurva sustains the cosmic function. The cosmic function produces the rain. The rain produces the food. The food produces the being who becomes the priest and the sacrificer, and the wheel of becoming is thus sustained by it. Tacha evam vidam karma kutaha jatam iti aha. There is a question now. And when has such action arisen? This is how now he is going to state that. Shankaracharya must prevent the system from collapsing into Purva Mimamsa. Therefore, he has to say that he will show that the Veda is rooted in Brahman, yet Brahman is actionless, and thus karma ultimately rests in the actionless absolute. This transition is intentional in the case of Shankaracharya's commentary. Therefore, Brahman, who has dictated the Veda, has become the karma, is the source for karma, and that karma is becoming yajna or apurva, which gives rise to rain, rain to food, food to beings, beings again do karma as per the Veda which has been given by Brahman. The one who steps outside the cycle will become Brahman himself. This samsara is self-sustaining wheel. So karma sustains the wheel, apurva operates within the wheel. The wheel does not yield moksha. When you step outside, surrendering the ego into the yajna, knowledge arises, and therefore the knowledge alone gives the opportunity to one to exit out of the wheel. The karma explains the continuity of the world. Knowledge explains the cessation of the knowledge's bond. We'll stop it here. Continue the 15th verse tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you. Dhanyawad.
Thank you very much, Bindoji, for the deep dive into yajnasishta and how the act of sacrifice and the relevance of giving before consuming. Thank you very much. I'm opening the chat and hand raising. We have about 25 minutes.
Okay. We'll stop then. We'll continue tomorrow.
Okay, Bindoji. Thank you. Thank you very much for your deep dive into that. It started off with Venkatji's question. So thank you very much. And thanks everyone for coming. So you can catch up on the replay if you want to do the manana of this particular room, which will continue tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. IST. I think Breck is coming up. Srini is coming up. Namaste, Srinivas.
Namaste, Binduji. Quick question. In this last part, when it says Veda came from Brahman, is it also referring to Saguna Brahman or the real Brahman, the Veda which came? Oops.
some problem in it. Namaste, Srini.
Hello? Yeah, can you hear me, Binduji?
Yeah, I can hear you because I had a glitch in my mobile.
Yeah. Yeah, just in the last section, when they were saying Veda came from Brahman, it should also be referring to Saguna Brahman only, right? It's
Yeah.
uh, that's the only question I had. Yeah,
Yes.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, Srini. Namaste, Brek.
Oh, namaste, Bindu. I just wanted to tell you, thank you so much. I thought I was going to be the only one coming up before we closed. I didn't have a question, but I just wanted to say that I was thinking about it from yesterday, and I was thinking to myself, this is starting to feel religious to me. But then today, it all went away because you very clearly laid this out, and then you actually offered up your explanations of this knowledge to us in that is it yetnia? Is that how you say it? Yetnia?
Yes. Yajna. Yes.
Yetna. So you
Yes.
did that. So you gave an example of that. So the religiosity went away for me. So it was just absolutely beautiful today, Bindu. Thank you.
Thank you, Brek. Thank you so much. Namaste, Venkat.
It has been a sort of a closure on a lot of things also.
Okay.
Just to summarize and reflect back, what I sort of observed, sitting in a more life configuration now, in a place where now with the war in the Middle East, half the flights cancelled and this place is now, the whole beach is for me now. So this fear configuration seems like, is the primary foundation. Seems like everything, the general life configured around fear as a primary sort of driver, and then the activities follow. Maybe 95%, because if I go to a pool left over with the low tide, the moment an external person like me enter into that pool, everybody hides. All the fishes hide. After 5-6 minutes, then they figure out and they come out, they move around. It shuts down basically. The fear configuration I see as one of the major drivers for any action. Then the second driver I see is, one who is in servitude or work as worship is the second configuration. The third configuration is out of compassion, out of satisfaction, the activity happening. Maybe the second and third one belong to yajna. The first one is simply karma. The fear-driven activities, whatever the motivator is, it look like the life configuration is around this security and fear. That's how I saw the three classifications of action. I know there's the intention behind all of this at a highest level. But these are the three broad classification I'm seeing, Binduji.
Yeah, there also the fear is not a independent trigger. Fear comes from the feeling, is from the ignorance. From
Correct.
ignorance is the fear which is coming. So knowledge is the only solution for that ignorance. The right knowledge can eliminate the fear by giving the right knowledge, which will, enlighten the whole picture. Thereby, no more fear will remain. That is the way to see the fear aspect. Or the rest of the two things are fine. That's okay.
Yeah. So now further on this, Binduji, as your time, hopefully your little time permit now.
Yeah.
That the Yagnena Mayajanta Deva, that in the Purusha Sukta, that that yajna, the deva, have bond out of it to, keep the order. This devas are always seems like running around, functionally running around. That's it. They're just doing their duties also, like
Yes.
the human. Uh, that's and
If the deva doesn't do their duty, how can the Parjanya take place?
yeah, that doesn't take place. Basically, they are just assigned the duties and they're just running their empire or their function. That's it.
Yes.
And they are as if like possessed. This whole universe is functioning as if they're possessed.
Right. It's a cycle, beautiful cycle. If you look at it not as a part of the whole thing, but you stand apart and look at it, you will see the self-sustaining nature of the cosmos. The universe self-sustains itself.
Out of syllabus question, how the boons happen in this, deva sacrifice.
Come again?
The deva sacrifices, there are different devas where the sacrifices happen, sometimes individually, sometimes together. How the boons, that materialize, I know even in yajna, shifting to deva, I was asking you, is that an out of syllabus question or
No,
is part of
it is
the...
also, it is a part of the thing. See, that is also yajnasishta. When devas are doing the action, they are also doing their action in the form of yajna. In the yajnasishta of the devas, they are giving back to the Panchamaha where the creation or the human beings or the creation, every creation in this other than themselves also is part of the Panchamaha one of the 5 places where they do yajna. So that is what comes back to us as boons by the, the what you call the benefit offered by good deeds. What you get, your benefit out of the good deeds, what benefit you get is nothing but that. We are not generating something new. We did a good action which was taken by the gods and they offered it in their yajna, and that yajna, when it is there, yajnasishta, they also they don't have the ego. So they also have offered yajna without the ego. So they get yajnasishta from that. That they share it with those who have helped them to do the yajna. That is why we get the benefit out of it.
Yes, I think this is nice, Madhuji. Now I have some practical question to ask. See, what I've seen, my own mother, because we were 6 of us, we had a very hard life. The food was not enough for the month. And
Right.
my mother lived on a meager food, bringing up the kids. Even the little milk she had, she spread it among the kids. And as the age, caught up, she gone through some multiple bone issues, even the back spine operated, straighten it, the hip replacement. One fine day she was crying, why it is not happen, why it is happening to me. And then I gave her, you sacrifice that very milk that should have strengthened your bones. Now this is the reason why you're facing such issue. Osteoporosis follow. After knowing, then she was very satisfied why it is happening. That knowledge was not there. Then after that, no complaints. That sacrifice is on in a way in the regular life. While, either you say that, whatever yajnasishya, that left, whatever is, the prasada, was also not there, in a way, in a hard life like that. And how do you see this in a way in the lens of yajna?
See, she was not having the knowledge of the yajnasishta when she was suffering the pain, and she looked it as, why is this happening to me? She thought it is a punishment. But the moment you explain to her that your lack of calcium by not having your milk, your quantity also milk, but even that you shared among the children. That is the reason why you are now having the shortage of calcium and your pain. Her pain vanished in the sense that she understood that the pain is no more a pain. It is an effect of my sacrifice which I have given as a yajna for my children. She became satisfied by that. Now you look at it that it is her yajna attitude which made her the satisfaction. The moment she thought it as a yajna is the result, what is this happening? The pain had not become anymore a pain but a satisfaction. Till then, when she was not knowing that she had done the yajna, but why? She had the ego question asking, why should I suffer? The moment you brought the picture as the whole thing, that why I am suffering stopped because there is no more I there in the equation. She saw only her children who had been benefited by that. So that gave her the happiness.
So in a way, this is an intentional servitude. Is the
Yes.
foundation of yajna.
Yes.
Okay, that sums it up very well, Binduji. That's all from my side, Binduji.
Okay.
This was very nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Venkat. Namaste, Bitcoin.
Hari Om Bindu sir, Charan Sparsh.
Charan Sparsh, Kiran.
Kiran, yes.
Yeah, I know.
Sir, so it was a wonderful session today. Maybe I am dumb, I am not able to understand one thing. When you say this yajna as a offering, right? Is it like, for confusion is, probably I will take Venkat sir's example what he gave. So now the mother who donated the milk for the sake of children, is that considered an offering or is that considered a sacrifice?
She is considered, see, the thing is that it would have remained as an offering if she had continued to look her suffering as a pain because she offered it, this thing to the children. But the moment she knew it as a yajna, it was not a sacrifice. So she didn't feel that it was a sacrifice, but rather than for the benefit of the children, what she has done, her pain, even though it is there, she is no more complaining about the pain, and it had become a satisfaction. So the attitude of why I am suffering as that I part of it, she transferred it as the total, yajna spirit of offering to the family. In that she didn't take, that is not, she was considering no more as not a sin or a selfish act. She is not taking or giving to the children. It is nice. She is not seeing it as a sacrifice, but as an offering to the family. So the Pancha Mahayajna, the family also become the rest of the human beings along with us who are all there is one of the Pancha Maha is this thing, and one of the five entities, Deva, etc., Pitru, Gana, etc., whatever is there in that. One is the human beings. So from her point, it became a part of the Pancha Mahayajna. Therefore, she was no more looking at it as a sacrifice, but as an offering.
Yeah, so, okay. So it's more of a more of a offering, right? So from one Gana perspective,
Yes.
I think the confusion what always occurs, especially in these lines, is being a Sthita Prajna, like what you covered earlier, is one thing, equanimous mindset across all the things, but I don't know how to understand this concept of, doing as an offering, right? I'll give you an example, sir. It always like confuses me. Let's say I have a kid, right? So when I have to teach her something, how can I have a mindset of, okay, this is an offering to a God. It is my kid. I have to make the kid grow. Only then the full, like with the full force or full likingness of how to make things better, only when that is there it comes, no? So that that is where I always get caught up, sir.
Kiran, the moment you think that that child is my kid and I have to educate her in such a way that she excels her class, exams and everything, you have an expectation of my child, a reward, everything is linked to the individuality part of it. On the contrary, you teach her the same thing as an act of yajna, in the sense that a offering where you enjoy the teaching. Don't look at it what she is learning from that. Enjoy the teaching part of it. And when you do the teaching as an enjoyment without even expecting anything out, whether she understands it or she gets good marks, don't have to anything that. Just the enjoyment of the teaching itself. She will get a attitude in her that there is a happiness in my father who is teaching me this. So there must be something which is good for me will come unknowingly. She will not think it in this direction, but that will be trigger in the mind of the child, that seeing the happiness in the father. That will make her more attentive. She starts listening more carefully. And when she starts listening more carefully, the outcome also will be based on that. So there your offering as a yajna is now giving more result than when you are teaching her with a selfish interest. This will come only when you do it that way. You will understand it. Don't have expectation. That's what the whole issue is. That the teaching is being done for the teaching purpose. That's all. That's the be all and end all. Don't look beyond that. And there, don't bring my child. If along with her room classmate or her friend also sat, do you think you would have taught in a different way? No. You still would have done the same way. If you had done that teaching with the same attitude of enjoyment. But if you are taking that, both of us in the same class, what if my daughter's friend learns more and she gets more mark than that? Then if you bring in those type of ideas, bring into the issue, then you will not be able to enjoy the teaching. You will be more self-centric.
Yeah, understood. I'll think of it. Thank you so much. Yeah, I know it's late. I'll probably. Thank you, sir. Charan Sparsh.
Thank you, Kiran. Thank you, Patrick. Namaste. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Bindo. Bindo, are you tired, or can I exhaust
Yeah,
you
go
a
ahead.
little bit more?
No, go ahead.
This, I always kind of feel sometimes you're a closet dualist, and this response to Srini on the question of which Brahman is the source of the Vedas, you answered that it was Saguna. Well, I'm looking at Gambhirananda's version 3:15 says, know that action has the Vedas as its origins, the Veda as the immutable as its source. That's nirguna. But I mean, the point that I want to make is it's this language that you use, and I object to it. There's no two Brahmans. There's no Saguna and there's no Nirguna, not really. And so the source of the Vedas has to be Nirguna. But you answered Srini saying that it was Saguna.
Patrick, the answer is from a point of view of empirical world.
No.
What you have to understand is that there is only one Brahman. In that same Brahman, when you are using that in the empirical world, you call it the same Brahman as Nirguna Brahman. In the empirical Brahman, and in the other, there is no two Brahman. The other place, there is no transaction. There is no other thing other than Brahman.
But there's no transaction in the transactional world. Not really. That's
the transactional. See, this is where we had the long argument that 170. The transactional world appears to be there.
Exactly.
That appearance from it is not there. From the appearance point of view, you have to accept that appearance is giving rise to two. And that appearance is not separate from the original.
Maybe for the teaching, but the language is. I just object to it, Bindo. I'm going to continue.
Yeah, you can object, but I'm not saying that you are wrong.
I know I'm not wrong. That's why I'm challenging.
You are not wrong, but in the Nirguna Brahma, there is nothing. Nirvishesha. There is no transaction, nothing.
There's nothing in Saguna as well, though.
The Saguna is only when there is a process or explanation to be given, you tell that as a Saguna. But really speaking, what you are referring to is the same one. It is just like that. When I'm saying that, Patrick, when I'm saying that the pot with which you bring the water, do you mean to say I am telling you the pot? No, I'm telling you the mud with which you are bringing water. If I say, it doesn't look nice, no?
But that's different. But
that is that is the truth.
Asking a question. The question is that Srini brought up was, what is the source of the Vedas? And so
Veda also is not there other than Brahman. If that is the case, but the moment when you ask that, the Veda came out from Brahman, so it is a Saguna Brahman, or I have to say Saguna Brahman from the point of view.
But
the Veda is not separate from Brahman.
Exactly, and so you can't.
But when somebody asks you where did the Veda come from, he has a mental side that Veda is there, which has come from somebody.
Yeah, but this is your position is that there really is two Brahmans, that action.
No, there are no two Brahmans. There are no two Brahmans.
Yeah, but you in your dialogue and the language that you use, you give the impression that there's two, and there's not two.
That is why exactly in the entire Bhagavad Gita, there are only few places where Krishna himself talks about Nirguna Brahman. Rest of all the places, he refers to Brahman as a Saguna Brahman. That is why Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya could not accept Advaita, because they saw the other side of it. That is why we need to understand it from the point of view where the questioner is asking the question from.
So that's fine. This is kind of like temporary truths, and then
yes.
But I object to that, and I think
you can see. You don't have to object to what you're saying.
I object to the style that you're using.
But then when you say, suppose there is only Nirguna Brahman, where did the Veda come from? You answer me.
There's a different way.
No. You answer me, Patrick. There is only Nirguna Brahman. Where did the Veda come from?
Itself.
Huh?
itself. The Vedas arises out of itself, which is Brahman itself. There's no Vedas and Brahman. There's Brahman.
No.
Brahman is the sole reality. There isn't awareness. There isn't this and that.
That is right, but that cannot be understood by anybody.
Yes, it
because
can be. That's my point. My point. My point is that teaching that this is kind of like like little bits of lies mixed in with the truth will somehow lead one to the truth.
It is just like
the only real Advaita is Advaita. There isn't two Advaitas, and teaching.
There is no two Advaita. There is no two Advaita.
Just for anyone else, I love you, and I'm allowed to do this with you, but it's maybe
you are allowed to do that.
Yeah. So I don't want to offend you any more than I have, but I believe that telling lies is a sin.
I'm not telling a lie. I told it from the point of view.
Little lies mixed in with the truth. That's the point, and it's not really true. And I'm still going to call you a dualist just so that it takes the bite out of your critics, but it's not really Advaita when you teach it this way. So I'm going to continue to harass you on this.
Yeah, please do that. I'm happy with it.
Okay. Love to you.
Thank you, Patrick. Love you. Namaste, Revati.
Namaste, Vinduji.
Yes.
In Gnana Yajna, what is the apurva to be considered, as it is the Shravana also considered as the karma? So, what is the apurva or the yajnasishta here?
The apurva of Jnana Yajna is Chitta Shuddhi, which will happen. The Chitta Shuddhi is not seen, but that gives rise to the knowledge as the end result of Yajna.
Oh, okay. It's for Jnana-nishta then?
Yes.
Right, Bindaji? Okay.
You're right. It's for Jnana-nishta.
Thank you, Bindaji.
Thank you, Revati. Okay. We'll stop it here.
Yes. Thank you everyone for coming. And again, thank you, Bindoji, for offering a deep dive into differentiating karma and jnana, which is continuing. So this today was all about sacrifice and offering. Tomorrow we'll meet again at 8:30 p.m. IST, where we'll continue with Bhagavad Gita Chapter 3. And the replays are available for this room in Clubhouse. The previous rooms are available on all the links that are shared, especially the YouTube channel. Again, thank you, Binduji. Over to you to close the room.
Thank you, Prakash, Srini, Brek, Venkat, Patrick, Revati, for your questions. I agree with Patrick. There are no two Brahman. There is only one Brahman. But the question from where it comes demands an answer befitting the question. Therefore, it is said that way. We will meet again tomorrow at the same time. Continue with verse number 15 onwards. Hari Om. Good night.
Good night.